If you're a woman watching this, I owe you an apology. And if you're a man watching this, hopefully you can learn from my mistake. So, over the last few years, I was angry at women for giving me basically brain dead advice, especially when it comes to dating, and their advice did not make any sense because I was struggling with dating. And a lot of women basically told me, just be yourself, there's someone out there that will appreciate you for who you are. And I have recently made a video where I rant at how bad that advice is, because even if you statistically are able to find someone out there who will appreciate you for who you are, that will be attracted to you for who you are, it doesn't mean you will be attracted back to them. Like, for example, I got a few matches on Tinder and other dating apps, and I was like, yes, there are some girls out there that appreciate me for who I am. And then I looked at their profile and I was like, they're not attractive girls. I am not attracted to them. I want highly attractive girls. And if you have a specific type, like for example, you are a man and you want to date blonde bombshells, so not just any woman, you want to date like supermodel looking women, it's gonna be much easier if you stop being yourself and become more attractive, rather than be yourself and keep approaching all those supermodel looking women and hoping that eventually, in like a 1 in a million chance, one of them will accept you for who you are. It's basically like gambling and hoping that if you keep gambling enough, eventually you will become a millionaire. Like, everyone says gambling is bad, but no one ever says how bad it is to just keep being yourself and being, for example, someone who never showers, someone who has an unlikable personality, and who just keeps shooting his shot, hoping that eventually someone will appreciate him for who he is, rather than to simply become more attractive. This is something that women did not seem to understand. And because they did not seem to understand that, they gave me brain-dead advice. They just kept giving me, just be yourself, there's someone out there that will appreciate you for who you are. And I got so frustrated at that. But that is only one example. Another example was with my, nice guy arc. Because I realized that being nice enough isn't enough to be attractive to women. You also have to be, attractive. You have to have a sex appeal. And so now I am focusing on both being nice and being good looking and all of that. But women, because they appeared stupid, they thought that I completely neglected being nice, and then I completely focused on being good looking and attractive, which is not true. I am focusing on both being nice and being attractive. But women did not understand that, which is why a woman literally commented under one of my latest videos saying a relationship based on purely physical attraction is doomed to fail. And I'm like, stop putting words into my mouth! I never said that I am only focusing on being attractive physically, and that I don't focus at all on being kind. I focus on being kind and physically attractive. But women think that I'm only doing one or the other, which is not true. I'm focusing on both. And so I'm like, why are women so brain dead? Why are women not understanding how brain dead the shit that comes out of their mouths is? But then I remembered a comment that I received under my video titled "Don't Hate Women, hate autism. And in that video, one of the things that I said was that I was basically frustrated at women for not being brutally honest with me. And being like, hey, you're good enough. You just have to keep trying. There's someone out there that will appreciate you for who you are. Rather than telling me, ditch those clothes. You need to wear better clothes. You need to shave facial hair that looks ugly and stuff like that. And I was frustrated at how women were basically afraid to hurt my feelings, and therefore they lied to me. They told me that I was good enough, when in reality I had to change and become better. So the comment that I received said, the girls that spoke nicely to you likely weren't super worried about your feelings and instead were trying to be nice in order to dismantle a pipe bomb without feeling the lash of the explosion. And this is basically common sense. It's just that this specific comment perfectly described it. And that got me thinking. I was like, wait a second. Is it possible that the women that gave me brain dead advice were not actually brain dead? They were not some idiots that did not know any better, but rather that they gave me that brain dead advice on purpose because they were afraid of me. They wanted to dismantle a pipe bomb without me exploding onto them or whatever. So basically, women who gave me brain dead advice, I'm not saying all of them, maybe some of them were indeed stupid, but at least a handful of them who gave me brain dead advice, they were not doing that to help me, but rather because they wanted to feel safe from me. And one example I can think of was with a girl like 2 weeks ago. No, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I'm just gonna call her the Russian girl for this video. When I asked her why all the women were ghosting me and rejecting me back then, she was like, you're too serious. You need to start smiling more. Start making jokes. And I was like, but I love myself when I am serious and when I'm making jokes. And I want to keep being what I love. And then this Russian girl was like, okay, never mind what I said. Just be yourself. There's someone out there that will like you for who you are. And 1 year later, after I had actually changed who I am and realized that a lot of women started appreciating me much more once I started smiling and making jokes, I was like, holy crap, this Russian girl was fucking stupid. She told me that I should just be myself, when in reality, I could not be myself. I needed to change who I am. Sure, there might be someone out there that might like me for being serious and never smiling and never making jokes, but it's usually like ugly, I don't want to be mean, but it's like ugly girls that I am not interested in. I prefer like supermodel looking girls almost. And you are more likely to attract those supermodel looking girls if you change who you are and become more attractive to them, rather than if you keep being yourself, which is what this Russian girl did not understand. And so I was like, this Russian girl is fucking stupid. But now I realize, wait a second, this Russian girl was actually spitting facts in the beginning when she said that I was being too serious. But then I got defensive. I was like, but I love who I am, I want to be myself. And that is why the Russian girl then must have felt threatened by me. And that's when she, as this comment put out, wanted to dismantle a pipe bomb without feeling the lash of the explosion. So then she basically resorted to not telling me what I needed to hear, but telling me what I wanted to hear. Just be yourself, ha ha ha, there's someone out there that will like you for who you are, ha ha ha, feel good energy, hashtag good vibes. And this is what a lot of women do with men. They give brain dead advice. Not necessarily because they want to help those men or they care about those men, but because they want to protect their own skin. They just want to feel safe. So it's kind of selfish reasons, but it's understandable because those women want to survive. And so, lately, because I was frustrated, obviously, at all the brain dead advice I was receiving, and I started being like, hey, I don't appreciate you giving me that advice. It has not worked for me. When I was being myself, you don't understand. Every single girl rejected me. Don't you think that I might increase the chances of getting a girlfriend if I change who I am and act in a more desirable way? And this is not necessarily to manipulate women, but to do those women a favor and be like attractive and behave in a way so that like my future woman would be grateful for being with me. Like, don't you think that is a smarter idea rather than just being yourself and essentially gambling until eventually you become a millionaire? And so whenever I received brain dead advice from women, I would counter their advice with facts and logic and basically destroy their argument. But now I realize, and I have to ask you too, how do you think women react when you as a man counter their advice with facts and logic? Do you think that those women react, oh, thank you for clarification, now I will know better for next time and will be smarter when providing life advice to men? Or do they instead go, holy crap, this creep doesn't leave me alone, I just want him to leave me alone, and now he basically won't leave me alone until I hurt his feelings, and if I hurt his feelings, he might pour acid onto me, like this other comment said. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If I keep lying to him, he will fucking realize that I'm lying to him and he will probably lash out at me in an aggressive way. And if I'm honest, then I will hurt his feelings and he will also lash out at me in an aggressive way. Holy crap! When you try to counter a woman's advice with facts and logic as a man, you're probably scaring them. Once again, I don't think necessarily all women, like, once again, statistically speaking, I'm pretty sure some women are indeed stupid and they give brain dead advice because they are brain dead. But then there are other women that don't care about if they sound brain dead or not. All they care about is whether they can feel safe or not. But you should still assume the worst case scenario. Because what if you assume, oh, this woman is just brain dead, so I'm gonna instruct her with facts and logic and I'm gonna make her smarter. And then this woman files a fucking restraining order against you. Because, plot twist, she was not brain dead. She was just saying all this brain dead stuff this whole time to basically make you shut the fuck up. If a woman gives you as a man brain dead advice, you should not destroy her arguments with facts and logic and be this like intellectual, destroying her reasoning with facts and logic. Because in your mind, you are like this intellectual, and you are right, and the women are wrong. But those women don't care about whether they are right or wrong. They only care about whether they are safe or not. And so when you try to be this intellectual, you come off as a pseudo-intellectual. You come off as a pseud. And a pseud, in case you don't know, is a derogatory term for pseudo-intellectual. You basically come off as a pseud, which is a slur. Do you really want to come off as a slur? It's like coming off as a faggot or something. So don't come off as a pseud. Instead, you should be like, okay, thank you for the advice. I will try doing that. Even though you know deep down that she is fucking wrong. Because guess what? That way, you increase the likelihood of this woman then liking you more. Maybe she, even if she just friend zones you, she still becomes a friend of yours, and she then eventually learns to gain trust in you. She will start feeling more comfortable around you, and then she will feel safe enough to give you advice that is not actually brain dead. And she will be like, hey, do you remember when I told you to just be yourself or whatever? I was telling that because I barely knew you, and I did not know how you would react if I told you the truth, but when I first met you, I thought that you had like really dirty clothes and you were smelling really bad. So now, when I feel more comfortable around you, I can finally say, you were not good enough. You had to start wearing a deodorant. And you had to clean your clothes. And then, when you hear that, you might be like, holy crap, she lied to me in the beginning. And now she admits to flat out lying to me. And you might be angry. You're like, fucking liar! If you get angry in that moment for a woman lying, then that is the reason why women distance themselves from you, bro. I just have to tell you that. Like, sure, lying is not justified, but you have to at least understand where she is coming from. Like, you have to understand that women usually don't feel safe around men that they don't really trust. Because a man is like physically stronger than a woman. A man could like easily punch a woman and then KO her. So women kind of feel very scared for their life most of the time. And so they have to lie in order to survive. And a lot of men, especially incels, they hate women because they claim that women don't understand what we men have to go through. Women don't understand how dating is hard for us men. Women don't understand how hard it is to attract the opposite gender as a man. Women don't care about incels. Women make fun of incels. But if you get angry at a woman for lying at you, you are showing that you don't understand what women are going through. You don't understand what women have to go through in their lives. You don't understand all the creepy men women have to deal with. And so, in that case, you're a hypocrite. Like, yeah, I have to tell you this. You're a hypocrite, bro. And guess what? if you get upset at women for lying, if you get upset at women for giving you brain dead advice, and you start becoming this pseudo-intellectual, women will be even more creeped out by you than they were before meeting you, or before starting to speak to you. And that is probably one of the main reasons why women ghost you and flake on you, and they say, "Oh, sorry, I cannot meet you. I was busy. I am busy today. Sorry, I did not see your message. I was busy." They don't want to meet up with you, not even as friends, because they are fucking scared of you. And also, if you want to decrease the risk of women lying to you / giving you brain dead advice, then you should avoid giving off a scary vibe when you approach women. And you may be asking, how do I not give off a scary vibe? And from my observations, I've realized that usually scary vibe comes from people being shy. Usually when you give out the quiet kid energy, that is when you creep women out as a man. And that is because a lot of quiet kids end up being later like school shooters and stuff. And the thing is, they might appear really nice. And I can give you my personal example, because a while ago I used to have this coworker who seemed really nice. Eventually, he ended up using slurs and hate speech. And I was so shocked. I was like, but he seemed so nice. I can't believe he did all this. But now when I'm looking back, I'm like, I actually do believe he did all of this. And I was stupid for thinking that he could not do all of this. Because even though he was nice, he was like this shy, quiet kid that would rarely talk. And this is the mistake a lot of people make. Like, look at Elliot Rodger, who ended up shooting and killing a bunch of people in the Isla Vista massacre. There are like many videos on YouTube with like his teachers, his former teachers speaking out and revealing that he was such a nice guy. And that they did not suspect anything. And they are shocked that he became this school shooter. And it's like, the warning signs, the red flags were there from the very beginning. He was shy and quiet. He was a quiet kid. And so if you are like this quiet and like shy and anxious guy who just stands there and observes women but barely speaks to them, I'm sorry to tell you, you creep them out. And I'm not saying that you are a future school shooter. Maybe you are just autistic. But once again, women are fearing for their life a lot of the time. And they don't want to risk thinking, oh, that guy is just autistic, but he's not gonna be a school shooter, and then he ends up being a school shooter. So they want to assume the worst case scenario. The same way you as a man should assume the worst case scenario when a woman is giving you brain dead advice. That she is doing that on purpose because she is scared of you. And so if a woman gives you brain dead advice, you should say, thank you for the advice. That way you increase the likelihood of the woman being less scared of you and maybe in the future actually giving you brain alive advice, you know, with the opposite of brain dead. But if you instead try to confront their advice with facts and logic, women will distance themselves even more from you than they did before. And so I have to apologize to women for being pseudo many times. Yes, I am allowed to use the slur because I am a Sud. Because I have so many times tried to counter women's advice with facts and logic. I am a pseudo-intellectual, so I am allowed to use the Sud slur the same way black people are allowed to use the N-word. And also, I apologize for thinking that women were stupid. I was the stupid one for thinking that women are stupid. Because now I realize that a handful of them did not care about helping me out. They were saying stupid shit on purpose to make themselves feel safe.